Welcome back. Johannesburg's Westpark Cemetery will reach its capacity in just 4 months. This is according to the Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo. The city has, however, assured its residents that despite this, it has enough burial space. To tell us more about this, I am now joined by Azola Manjati, who is the cemetery manager at Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and a very good evening to you. I guess we should start at the limited capacity that you do have available. Currently, 39 of the 42 cemeteries that you are managing have reached full capacity. Tell us a little bit more, please.
Good day to you and the viewers. Yes, Westpark is running out of capacity. It was opened in 1942, and now it's getting to its full capacity. However, reburials and reopenings will still take place, and also the above ground burials will still take place. It's only the Westpark that is reaching capacity. JCPZ still has about 30 years of available space in other cemeteries, Waterfall, Diepsloot, and Elephant's Fly.
And I'm glad you're mentioning what is still available, but I want to just talk about the 39 of the 42 cemeteries that have reached full capacity. If we're only having now about 3 as an alternative, as opposed to having the 42, will that not have an impact?
No, not at all, because we had 4 active, and then all the passive cemeteries, there were 38, and now we will be left with only 3, which Diepsloot, Waterfall were very underutilized, and Westpark was very busy. But now all the activities that happened, the burials that were accommodated at Westpark will now be accommodated by other 3 cemeteries. Okay. So we have made a provision for it.
You also mentioned reburials and reopenings as well. If you could just explain to our viewers what that means.
It means if one member of the family passes away and you buy a grave for the first time, which is a new allocation of grave, after 18 months, you can still rebury another member of the family in that same grave. And that has picked up very well. Avalon is very busy competing with the active cemetery as much as it is passive cemeteries due to reopens and its size. So Westpark will also be very busy and open to that front.
And as the JCPZ, this is something that you're obviously encouraging as well to preserve space too, but also you're encouraging cremation. Have residents heeded that call? Are we seeing an increase in cremations as we're seeing less and less space in our cemeteries?
Yes, we are seeing more and more cremations. And what is encouraging is that it's coming from different denominations at this time. We have marketed it very well in the past, and we're still continuing marketing the cremations, and the public is responding very well to them. And we are still encouraging them to consider cremation as an alternative and a safe and an environmental sustainable way of burial.
And in some instances, I mean, if there's no space, there's no space. You don't have a choice. But you're mentioning Westpark as well, been around since 1942. It's quite also central to the city of Johannesburg as well. Many residents would know about and where Westpark Cemetery is, if not having had buried a loved one there. When you look at Elephant's Fly Cemetery, Waterfall and Diepsloot, which are the alternatives that you're providing as well, how are people coping with that? I mean, I'm just assuming somebody who lives, let's say, in the south, who would have maybe, or in the West Rand, it would have been easier and more convenient for them to go to a Westpark, now being told that they have to go to Waterfall, which is based in Midrand. Are we finding that people are more open and receptive to the idea of shifting beyond Westpark Cemetery?
Yes, just 4 weeks ago, we issued a communication that Westpark can no longer carry more than 15 burials per day, and that call was heeded very well. People understood that Westpark is getting to its maximum capacity, and now they're starting to utilize other cemeteries. So we're seeing an uptick in other cemeteries that were quite of a low use, that were not usable as we would like. But now public is responding to that.
And when we look at cities like Johannesburg, Azola, and metros like the city of Cape Town, where there is a lot of urbanization as well, we also find that there's also great migration to such cities as well. And with that great migration, with increased population, of course, there will also be an increase in deaths. So what is the plan for Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo in terms of earmarking future cemeteries as well? Have you ring-fenced some land already? What are the plans?
Yes, we are working on the land issue. Concurrently, we are also promoting alternative burials, but we are working on the land issue. For the past 2 decades, we have developed enough space to last us for the next 3 decades. So in terms of inconvenience of burials, it's only geographical, the distance between the cemeteries that people have to travel now, as compared that there's an active cemetery in the central area. But in terms of burial space, yes, we will keep up for the next 30 years, which is, it takes about 3 years to develop a new cemetery. So in the next 3 to 5 years, we're hoping to be able to develop another cemetery, which will add now to our available space, which will take us to the next 40, 50 years. So we're planning in a very advanced way. It's not like we run out of space at Westpark and then now we don't have any space to bury.
Oh, okay, I see. So people shouldn't fret at all about this. It's just where on which cemetery out of the alternatives outside of Westpark will be used as well. What are some of the challenges that you face when you are looking to earmark some of this land? I mean, I'm assuming that you have to, in some instances, speak to homeowners to say, look, we might need a piece of land that is nearby your property to create a cemetery. How was that received? Do you find that members of the public are understanding to have a cemetery on the foot of their doorstep?
That one is not much of a problem. People do understand that cemeteries are part of life. The major issue, we're competing with human settlement, the housing, building of houses and industrial areas. The cemeteries require the same land as the farming land and the housing land. So, which means we need prime land, which is very scarce and not readily available. So it becomes much of a challenge that now, instead of a housing development, we'll put a cemetery. So, and when we secure the land for the long term, like now, if we would secure the land, that land will only be using it in the next 5 years. But in terms of frequent use and that we're using the land majorly, it's going to be in the next 10 years. What happens is now people will see the land that is just sitting and doing nothing, because cemetery aren't a one-day thing. It's a long-term thing. But we do looking into that, but we will develop more cemeteries in future. But as I said, currently, we're not worried about burial space. We have enough burial space.
Azola Manjati, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That is, of course, Azola Manjati, who is the cemetery manager at Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo, who says while they are running out of space at Westpark Cemetery, there are alternative cemeteries around the city of Johannesburg.